The night watchman had never believed in ghosts until he heard the sound of weeping echoing through the marble corridors of the Bank of England. It was a woman's cry, soft but endless, drifting from the shadows beneath the grand staircase. When he followed the sound, he saw her, dressed entirely in black, her veil flowing like smoke, her eyes hollow with grief. "Please," she whispered, "help me find my brother." Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you are watching from. I love knowing who is listening. The woman was known only by the name Londoners had given her, the Black Nun. For nearly 2 centuries, people had claimed to see her wandering Threadneedle Street, her mournful figure gliding through locked doors, searching, always searching. But behind the ghost story lay something far more human and heartbreakingly true. Her name, before tragedy turned her into a legend, was Sarah Whitehead. Sarah had been a bright young woman once, gentle and full of laughter. Her brother, Philip Whitehead, worked as a respected clerk at the Bank of England in the late 1700s. The siblings had no one but each other, and every evening Sarah would wait for him by the gates as the city lights dimmed and fog rolled in. But one winter morning, he didn't come home. Days turned into weeks. Each knock on the door made her heart jump, only to fall again. Then, one gray afternoon, a messenger arrived with trembling hands and eyes that wouldn't meet hers. Philip, he said, had been arrested, accused of forging banknotes, a crime punishable by death. Sarah refused to believe it. "My brother? Never!" she cried. She went to the bank herself, demanding to see him. But the clerks avoided her gaze. The governor gave her no answers. And when she finally learned the truth, that her beloved brother had been executed in secret, something inside her shattered. From that day on, she dressed in mourning black and returned to the bank every single day. "Where is my brother?" she'd ask the guards, her voice trembling. "When will he be released?" No one had the heart to tell her again. Some thought she'd gone mad. Others pitied her. But Sarah's grief was deeper than madness. It was loyalty turned to stone. Years passed. Her hair turned silver, her steps slower, but still she came, always asking, always hoping. People began calling her the Black Nun of Threadneedle Street. Even after her death, the legend said, she never stopped coming. Many decades later, in the 19th century, a young banker named Edward Calthorpe began working late nights at the bank. He'd heard the tales, laughed them off, until the night he saw her. It was raining hard. The thunder rolled like distant drums, and Edward was finishing his accounts when he heard soft footsteps echoing through the empty hall. He looked up and froze. She stood by the ledger table, her head bowed, her hands clasped around a faded letter. The air grew cold. Her voice, barely audible, said, "Have you seen my brother, sir? His name is Philip Whitehead." Edward couldn't move. She lifted her face toward him. Pale, sorrowful, eyes that held centuries of pain. And in that instant his pen slipped from his hand. When he blinked, she was gone. Only the faint smell of lavender and old paper lingered. The next morning, Edward told his supervisor. To his surprise, the man didn't laugh. "You've seen her," he said quietly. "Some do, especially those who stay too late." Soon, Edward began to investigate her story. He visited the archives, read the trial records, even found Philip's name among the condemned. And one evening, when the moonlight streamed through the iron gates, Edward did something no one had ever done before. He walked into the courtyard, holding a small lantern, and whispered, "Miss Whitehead, your brother's at peace. You can rest now." For a long moment there was silence. Then a soft breeze brushed his cheek, and in the distance the faintest smile crossed the shadowed face that faded slowly into the mist. Since that night, many say her presence has grown gentler. The bank still closes its gates each evening, but security guards sometimes report a fleeting shape on their cameras, a dark figure standing by the stairs, hands folded as if in prayer. And those who have truly seen her swear that she is not frightening at all, only sad, as though still searching for the last thread of peace the world denied her. The legend of the Black Nun isn't just a ghost story. It's a story about love that refused to die, about devotion so strong that even death couldn't silence it. Because love doesn't vanish, it lingers, waiting to be understood. And somewhere in the heart of London, beneath the marble floors and ticking clocks of the Bank of England, a loyal sister still walks, mourning, waiting, forgiving. If this story gave you chills or touched your heart, share it with someone who loves history, mystery, and the power of love beyond time. And don't forget to subscribe to Whispered Words, where forgotten souls and untold legends find their voice again.